There is no doubt that the scientific and intellectual advancement humanity has achieved over the past century surpass everything previously recorded in known human history, or at least, this is what most people believe. This belief largely stems from the steadily growing intelligence of humankind throughout the years. Accordingly, one might assume that humanity is headed toward a future more dazzling than even the wildest dreams of science fiction writers. While that may hold some truth, the reality, as revealed by most studies and available evidence, is that the future is unlikely to be populated by geniuses, nor will the world become the utopia many envision. In fact, if the current trajectory of human intelligence continues, our descendants may find themselves unable to solve even the simplest problems or handle the most trivial challenges. Stupidity will shroud minds, and the faculty of free thinking will vanish. Undoubtedly, the challenges confronting humanity compel us to question the very nature of intelligence itself, leading us to explore various concepts and definitions, chief among them, fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence, a term coined by American psychologist Raymond Cattell, refers to the analysis of general intelligence, also known as the G factor. It denotes the innate ability to think logically and solve problems independent of acquired knowledge, that is, reasoning rooted in instinct and logic. This form of intelligence relies on inductive reasoning, drawing conclusions about the whole based on its components. It is a kind of reasoning based on generalization, allowing for the study of entire societies through the examination of samples. Despite its limitations, statistics as a field relies heavily on this method of reasoning. In addition to inductive reasoning, fluid intelligence also involves deduction, the logical connection between premises and conclusions. It is a form of inference in which the validity of a conclusion is contingent upon the soundness of its premises. For instance, consider the following. All women are unintelligent. My daughter is a woman. Therefore, my daughter is unintelligent. This conclusion is logically valid based on the premises, but the argument remains flawed, as the first premise is inherently false. Fluid intelligence differs from crystallized intelligence, which depends on accumulated knowledge and experience. While the former is innate, the latter crystallizes through the depth and breadth of knowledge a person acquires over their lifetime. Though distinct, these two types of intelligence are closely related. Most IQ tests aim to measure both fluid and crystallized intelligence, with overall IQ being the sum of the two. Building on Cattell's research, American psychologist James R. Flynn conducted a series of global tests during the 20th century to assess both types of intelligence using sample-based methods. He standardized the average score at 100, with a standard deviation of 15 or 16 points. Flynn observed a consistent and linear increase in test scores over time, indicating a steady rise in human intelligence. Each generation appeared smarter than the last. This rise was attributed to factors such as societal stability, better education, improved nutrition, and more elements that made people more intelligent than in the past. This phenomenon became known as the Flynn effect, and it was supported by numerous studies confirming that IQ scores were increasing by about 3 points every decade. However, the Flynn effect peaked among individuals born in the mid-1970s and has since begun to decline noticeably. A study by researchers at the Ragnar Frisch Center for Economic Research in Norway highlighted this trend by analyzing IQ scores of 730,000 individuals born between 1962 and 1991. The study revealed a drop in the Flynn effect by about 7 points per generation. Flynn himself confirmed these findings through research on British teenagers, registering a similar decline, prompting him to remark, "There seems to be something troubling among British teenagers." Meanwhile, American author Kevin Anderson echoed this concern, stating, "Some studies show that individuals today are more intelligent than ever before, but many others suggest that, over recent decades, human cognitive skills have deteriorated." Despite skepticism from some researchers regarding the validity of these studies, others took the matter seriously, delving into this alarming phenomenon in an effort to confirm whether human intelligence has indeed been declining over recent decades. They also sought to identify the causes behind this regression, especially in light of the tremendous technological and intellectual advancements witnessed globally. These scholars attributed the decline to several factors, all of which revolve around technology. Ironically, the very force that was expected to elevate our intellect appears to have dulled it. The widespread availability of the internet and the overwhelming influx of random information absorbed daily have created a false sense of knowledge. As a result, individuals often believe that acquiring a snippet of information instantly qualifies them as experts, without consulting books, credible sources, or subjecting the information to the fundamentals of critical thinking. This has led to the proliferation of logical fallacies, so much so that people, in their ignorance, often accept falsehoods as truths and dismiss genuine facts as fallacies. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, foretold this era of confusion, saying, "There will come to people years of deceit, in which the liar will be believed, the truthful will be disbelieved, the treacherous will be trusted, and the trustworthy will be seen as traitors, and the Ruwaybida will speak." The ease of accessing information, coupled with the blurring of truth and falsehood, has fostered a type of veiled ignorance, paralyzing the mind's capacity for sound reasoning rooted in inquiry and comparison. It has also fueled herd mentality and blind conformity. Educational systems based on rote learning and memorization have produced individuals who wear the guise of expertise but lack true understanding, fools disguised as the educated. Furthermore, the rapid tempo of modern life, accelerated by technology and social media, has plunged humanity into a whirlpool of distraction and haste, severely diminishing our capacity for deep thought. In addition to these technological and educational factors, some researchers have traced the decline in intelligence to genetic patterns. Couples with above-average intelligence tend to have fewer children, or none at all, while those with lower cognitive abilities reproduce at a higher rate. This imbalance gradually tips the demographic scale, increasing the number of less intelligent individuals while reducing the population of the intellectually gifted. This hypothesis formed the basis of Mike Judge's film Idiocracy. The movie imagines that in the year 2005, the U.S. military decided to cryogenically freeze its most competent soldiers for future use. The male participant, an unremarkable army librarian of average intelligence, was joined by a woman from outside the military for the same experiment. However, shortly after the project began, the supervising officer was arrested for a scandal, and the experiment was forgotten. Centuries passed, 500 years to be exact, during which the intelligent population dwindled and the unintelligent reproduced unchecked. When the two subjects finally awoke, they found themselves in a future where society had become so dull-witted that people were incapable of solving even the simplest problems, like managing waste accumulation. The protagonist, believing that humanity must have developed time travel by then, embarks on a quest to find it and escape the idiocy surrounding him. His articulate speech and cultured demeanor earn him ridicule. People consider him effeminate simply because he speaks eloquently. Art has degenerated into meaningless visuals, consumed without thought. A food corporation has even convinced the public to water crops with a sports drink, resulting, of course, in a global food crisis. When the protagonist is finally apprehended and tested for intelligence, he is discovered to be the smartest man alive, the only one capable of addressing society's problems. Yet all he wants is to find a way back. At one point, he tells his female counterpart, "Go back and tell people to read books." Eventually, he discovers that the so-called time machine is nothing more than an amusement park attraction. Resigned to his fate, he accepts life in this absurd world, now ruled by foolishness. Though comedic in tone and focused on a single cause, the film presents a sobering reflection grounded in scientific research that suggests human intelligence is in decline. This is corroborated by the Flynn effect and the aforementioned studies. Perhaps most telling of all is the evidence before our eyes, both in the real and virtual worlds, offering irrefutable proof that the number of fools is growing at an alarming rate. In his book, The Basic Laws of Human Stupidity, based on various field experiments, Italian economic historian Carlo Cipolla, a professor at the University of California, outlined 5 fundamental laws of stupidity, which can be summarized as follows. First, a stupid person causes harm to others and to themselves. Second, the stupid person is the most dangerous category of humans in society. Third, there is no correlation between stupidity and other personal traits or levels of education. Fourth, non-stupid individuals tend to underestimate the destructive power of stupid people. Fifth, people invariably underestimate the number of stupid individuals within society. Based on these 5 laws, Cipolla classified humanity into 4 distinct types. Of the intelligent, one who benefits themselves and others. Of the helpless, one who does not benefit themselves yet benefits others. Of the bandit, one who benefits themselves but not others. Of the stupid, one who neither benefits themselves nor others. Cipolla regarded the stupid person as the most dangerous of all types, more perilous even than thieves and murderers. This is because the stupid individual is impulsive, emotionally driven, and makes judgments based on appearances. They express opinions without consideration for consequences or the problems they may cause for themselves or others. They aim to destroy others without any personal gain, ultimately contributing to the collapse of society as a whole. The true peril of the stupid person lies in their obliviousness to their own stupidity. This notion recalls the classification made by renowned Arabic linguist Al-Khalil ibn Ahmad al-Farahidi, who divided people into 4 categories. A man who knows and knows that he knows, ask him, for he is the scholar. A man who knows but does not know that he knows, remind him, for he is forgetful. A man who does not know but knows that he does not know, teach him, for he is ignorant. A man who does not know and does not know that he does not know, avoid him, for he is the fool. Thus, the defining trait of stupid people is their ignorance of their own stupidity. They are inherently destructive, inflicting material and moral damage upon both themselves and others. They are inclined toward all forms of corruption and perversely yearn to see everyone fail as they have, so they don't feel out of place or left behind. From this stems their tendency to incessantly criticize anything beneficial or constructive, to blame others, belittle others' achievements, and mock those who succeed. The stupid individual possesses a barren imagination, a narrow outlook, and limited vision. They judge solely by appearances, lacking the capacity for deep thinking or reading between the lines. This makes them blindly selective in their judgments, prone to dogmatic pursuits. They presume to discern hidden intentions and inner motives, often stereotyping and categorizing people. They are devoid of comparative reasoning or analytical skills. The stupid person is dogmatic, closed-minded, and refuses to entertain new ideas or even consider the possibility of being wrong. Paradoxically, they possess an inflated sense of confidence, while intelligent individuals are often plagued with self-doubt. The stupid person rejects logical arguments and evidence. Their beliefs are unshakable regardless of the strength of opposing proofs. They are unreceptive to criticism and unwilling to improve their reality, ideas, or shortcomings. Instead, they engage in debates merely for attention, driven by a conviction that they are the most intelligent person on Earth, possessing knowledge that no one else has attained. Strikingly, in our current age, the age of artificial intelligence, so to speak, the number of such fools who voice opinions as if they were experts has exceeded all expectations. What is even more alarming is the lack of a clear link between stupidity and educational attainment, social status, or environmental background. This was one of Sapola's key findings, and one he considered particularly frightening, as it has led to an increase in the number of degree-holding fools. These are but glimpses of the traits of the foolish, traits that have been deliberately amplified by deceptive media and the rampant spread of social platforms, which have thrust such individuals into the spotlight and promoted blind imitation of ideas, beliefs, opinions, and even appearances, all in service of manufacturing ignorance and stupidity. The fool is easily led, indoctrinated, manipulated, and controlled. The danger escalates when such a person transitions from being an ordinary citizen, whose stupidity may be limited to a negative comment, a baseless opinion, or causing a minor issue, to a position of authority and decision-making. At that point, nations begin to drown in oceans of ignorance, for backwardness prevails in societies that fail to sideline the foolish and elevate the intelligent. These foolish societies glorify idiots, turning them into idols and role models, presenting them as symbols of success at the expense of the wise, who are marginalized, fought, excluded, and exiled. The intelligent, then, are drawn in, embraced, and celebrated by enlightened societies that understand such minds are the true means of salvation. Undoubtedly, modern technology has contributed, whether directly or indirectly, to the decline of human intelligence. From a calculator that weakened arithmetic skills, to computers and smartphones, and finally to artificial intelligence, which deprives the mind of the need to think or innovate and deepens dependency. Just as the body's muscles atrophied over generations of mechanical ease, so too have cognitive abilities diminished. Thus, we see some of the most advanced modern curricula turning to ancient methods to revive mental arithmetic and logical reasoning, in an effort to salvage what remains. The crafting of stupidity begins with the inversion of truths, the betrayal and distortion of honesty, and the widespread endorsement of foolishness and triviality, whether on television screens or social media. Consequently, wealth became the sole measure of success, regardless of merit, and the trivial were elevated as cultural icons and heroes. We now witness football fans fighting over clubs they support, though they are barred from its gates and share none of the billions it generates for the elite. Artists have become the societal stars, dominating the public sphere at the expense of scientists. We now live in an age obsessed with fame and self-display, driven by a relentless chase after money, regardless of its source. Our world today is not far removed from that depicted in the film Idiocracy, a world brimming with fools spawned by an educational system built on rote memorization, one that suppressed free thought, creativity, and creators. The matrix of stupidity has become tightly sealed, shrinking with each passing day. There is no escape from it except through the cultivation of deep listening, contemplation, independent thinking, and a return to human virtues before a time comes when we can no longer even recognize who we are, or when survival requires us to ride the very wave of stupidity. Yet before you consider riding that wave to succeed in life, remember the words of God Almighty. As for the scum, it vanishes like foam, but what benefits the people remains on the earth. Stupidity in our modern age has become an industry, carefully guarded and vigorously supported by the elite to forge a world devoid of free thought. Through it, they can propagate whatever ideas and beliefs they choose, preparing humanity to embrace a new world order, one stripped of true knowledge and of faith.